for these drivers to finish their preparations. With just 70 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. With just 70 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Jake Feemster posted 2:58.263 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time. Jake just posted a 2:58.263 crossing start finish. It's a lovely day for racing here at Daytona 2024, the 24-hour road course, as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Adam is on his practice out lap. It's a lovely day for racing here at Daytona 2024, the 24-hour road course, as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Jake Feemster has a best lap time of 2:58.263. Jake Feemster has a best lap time of 2:58.263.
There is always more time to be found, but Jake is not guaranteed to find it.
Jake Feemster posted 2:31.965 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time. Adam is on his practice out lap. It's a lovely day for racing here at Daytona 2024, the 24-hour road course, as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Adam is on his practice out lap. With just 66 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations.
If there is still time on the clock, there is still time to improve.
Jake Feemster has a best lap time of 2:31.965. It's a lovely day for racing here at Daytona 2024 to 24-hour road course as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. There are just over 65 minutes left in this practice session. Jake Feemster has a best lap time of 1:48.382. Jake Feemster posted 1:48.382 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time.
Feemster is not giving up and will be looking for every 10th.
With just 64 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Adam is in backstretch. Adam is on his first practice flying lap. Adam is getting to grips with the ASRL McLaren F1 GTR in this practice session. Jake Feemster has a best lap time of 1:46.412.
There is always more time to be found, but Feemster is not guaranteed to find it.
Jake Feemster has a best lap time of 1:46.412. Adam just posted a 1:46.769 crossing start finish. Adam posted 1:46.769 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time.
If there is still time on the clock, there is still time to improve.
Adam has a best lap time of 1:46.769.
The time clock can be a cruel mistress that is all too willing to show you your faults.
Malero is on his practice out lap. It's a lovely day for racing here at Daytona 2024 to 24-hour road course as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Malero is on his practice out lap. Adam has a best lap time of 1:46.769. With just 61 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations.
Adam is not giving up and will be looking for every 10th.
It's a lovely day for racing here at Daytona 2024 to 24-hour road course as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. There are just over 60 minutes left in this practice session. David Zahn is on his practice out lap. Adam just posted a 1:53.938 crossing start finish.
There is always more time to be found, but Adam is not guaranteed to find it.
Adam has a best lap time of 1:45.931.
The time clock can be a cruel mistress that is all too willing to show you your faults.
Adam posted 1:45.931 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time.
If there is still time on the clock, there is still time to improve.
It's a lovely day for racing here at Daytona 2024 to 24-hour road course as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. David Zahn is on his practice out lap. David Zahn is in T1. Kevin Lekmansky is on his first practice flying lap. Lekmansky is getting to grips with the ASRL McLaren F1 GTR in this practice session. Kevin Lekmansky is in T8. With just 57 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Adam just posted a 1:46.651 crossing start finish.
There is always more time to be found, but Adam is not guaranteed to find it.
Adam has a best lap time of 1:45.931. Jake Feemster has a best lap time of 1:46.412.
The time clock can be a cruel mistress that is all too willing to show you your faults.
With just 56 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations.
If there is still time on the clock, there is still time to improve.
Jake just posted a 5:19.111 crossing start finish.
There is always more time to be found, but Feemster is not guaranteed to find it.
Malero has a best lap time of 2:34.329. There are just over 55 minutes left in this practice session. Jake Feemster has a best lap time of 1:46.412. With just 55 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Jake Feemster posted 2:34.076 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time. Malero just posted a 3:06.893 crossing start finish.
Malero is not giving up and will be looking for every 10th.
Malero has a best lap time of 1:48.029. With just 53 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations.
If there is still time on the clock, there is still time to improve.
Kevin Lekmansky has a best lap time of 1:46.350.
The time clock can be a cruel mistress that is all too willing to show you your faults.
Kevin Lekmansky posted 1:46.350 on his last lap, and will be pushing hard for an even lower time. It's time to separate the contenders from the pretenders here at Daytona 2024 to 24-hour road course, as the drivers rev up their engines and put their skills to the test in the qualifying session.
I think there's a few drivers out there who have the pace to stick it on pole.
It's all about strategy in these early moments. Kevin Lekmansky is taking his time to prepare for his qualifying run and get everything just right. Kevin Lekmansky appears focused and prepared driving through T4. Kevin Lekmansky is keeping his head down through T7.
To see the best action, you can't go wrong here at T7.
This is where the mental game comes into play. Jake Feemster is taking his time to prepare for his qualifying run.
This is the moment he's been preparing for. Let's see if he can execute.
Jake Feemster is working his way through T6.
I have always loved this section of the track.
Jake Feemster is expertly commanding that car through backstretch.
Fuel, fumes, fans, and fights, backstretch has it all.
The adrenaline is pumping. Simon of the Desert is on his out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time.
He'll want to get a good gap established for the flying lap.
Simon of the Desert is driving through T5. Simon of the Desert appears focused and prepared driving through T9. It looks like Stefano Amadei is getting ready to make his move. He's taking his time to warm up those tires and get everything just right. Stefano Amadei is looking relatively composed going through T11.
There's a great spot near here to kick back with a cold drink and enjoy the beauty of it all.
That ASRL McLaren F1 GTR looks good driving through front stretch. Stefano Amadei has completed his outlap. Adam is on his outlap. Adam is working his way through backstretch.
This track has many great straights and corners, but this one is especially good.
Adam is driving through T13.
This is such a great track. I need to make it back here more often.
There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Kevin Lekmansky is 0.26 up driving through T5.
All we can do now is wish Lekmansky luck as the start-finish line approaches.
Kevin Lekmansky is now up 0.69 in T8.
If Lekmansky looks at that delta too much, it may end up being a distraction, and all that time he found may be lost.
Kevin Lekmansky appears focused and prepared driving through bus stop.
There's a spot near here where the teenagers sneak off to make out.
Kevin Lekmansky just clocked a 146.325, 0.298 off of P1 and good enough for P3. Let's see if he can improve on that time further. The pressure is on in this qualifying session, but Adam is rising to the occasion.
Adam certainly is nailing this one. This is shaping up to be a great performance.
Adam completes his lap in a time of 1:45.346, currently in P1. It's all about precision and speed in qualifying, and Stefano Amadei is nailing both. Stefano Amadei is currently up 0.66 going through T8. Stefano Amadei is expertly commanding that car through T11.
The action and glory drivers have lived here at T11 is truly historic.
Stefano Amadei has just completed that lap in 1:48.734, which is 3.388 off the best time, putting him in P6. This is what it's all about. David Zahn is putting everything he's got into this qualifying session. David Zahn is looking relatively composed going through backstretch. David Zahn is keeping his head down through front stretch.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
David Zahn has completed that flying lap in 1:47.664, which is good enough for P4, down 2.318 to the leader. Simon of the Desert has found an extra 0.48. Simon of the Desert has lost 5.92 seconds so far through T2.
Simon needs to regroup, refocus, and knock it up a notch.
Malero has improved by 0.11. Malero has improved by 0.22 up through T4. That ASRL McLaren F1 GTR looks good driving through T7.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
Malero is in the green by 0.13, making his way through T10. Malero is 0.47 up driving through front stretch. Malero will be happy, with a time good enough for second in this qualifying session. Kevin Lekmansky will be happy, with a time good enough for third in this qualifying session. Ryan Wilson is on his first flying lap. Ryan Wilson is working his way through Rodriguez International Horseshoe.
If Wilson listens closely, the sounds of cheering fans should just barely be audible over the roar of the engine.
Ryan Wilson is driving through T6 and is up 0.19.
This is where drivers have to decide to push for more or just try to maintain it.
Ryan Wilson is expertly commanding that car through backstretch.
The ASRL McLaren F1 GTR is indeed a sweet-ass looking ride.
Ryan Wilson is looking relatively composed going through T13.
Don't forget to check out the views near T13, they are fantastic.
Ryan Wilson just clocked a 1:45.841, 0.495 off of P1 and good enough for P3. Let's see if he can improve on that time further. Kevin Lekmansky is now up 22.98. Kevin Lekmansky is currently on provisional pole, with a time of 1:45.089. Simon of the Desert is currently up 0.98 going through T8. Simon of the Desert is driving through bus stop.
When I get some free time after the race, I'm going to park my pudding near bus stop with a nice drink and some friends.
Simon of the Desert has some work to do, as his best time of 1:48.555 is only good enough for 7th. Jake Feemster has improved by 0.61. Jake Feemster is keeping his head down through T13.
There's a great spot near here to kick back with a cold drink and enjoy the beauty of it all.
What a performance from Stefano Amadei, currently in 8th on the grid. It's a good spot for now, but other drivers are trying their hardest to put in a better time and push him down the order.
Spot on analysis, Marco. Stefano is positioned well in 8th. It's crucial for him to maintain his focus and defend his position in the upcoming race.
Stefano Amadei has improved by 0.93 up through bus stop. Stefano Amadei has some work to do, as his best time of 1:48.734 is only good enough for 8th. Impressive display by Simon of the Desert, currently sitting in P7. He's set a competitive time, but the question remains whether he can push even harder to secure a better starting position. Simon of the Desert has some work to do, as his best time of 1:47.342 is only good enough for 6th. Adam has put in a great effort and currently holds 2nd. With the session winding down, time is running out to unleash his full potential for a better starting position.
I completely agree, Marco. Adam has plenty of opportunity starting in 2nd. However, it's crucial for him to keep pushing and make up some positions in the race.
Adam is working his way through T7. Adam is now up 0.2 in T10.
If Adam gets greedy, this delta could go from green to red in the blink of an eye.
Adam is off the pace 0.2 at front stretch. Adam will be happy, with a time good enough for 2nd in this qualifying session. Adam is in the green by 0.24, making his way through T2.
Adam needs all the focus and resolve he can muster to maintain this pace.
Adam is driving through T5 and is up 0.11.
The rest of this lap is no cakewalk. Let's hope he can keep it up.
Adam is expertly commanding that car through T8. Adam is looking relatively composed going through bus stop.
This track has many great straights and corners, but this one is especially good.
Adam will be happy, with a time good enough for second in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for him to find that missing 0.166, but that won't stop him from trying.
That ASRL McLaren F1 GTR looks good driving through T2.
Fans sitting near T2 get some of the best views of the action.
It's a beautifully calm day here at Daytona 2024 to 24-hour road course, as we're getting ready to get things underway.
The drivers are looking focused out there on the grid. I'm excited for this one, Marco.
Kevin Lekmansky will be feeling confident starting from pole position.
The pressure's on now. Let's see if any of the other drivers can challenge for this spot at the start.
Adam has a great opportunity starting on the front row.
He will have to be smart about his moves. He must not burn out too early.
In the third position, it's none other than Malero.
He's going to have to be quick out of the blocks to keep up with the top performers.
Ryan Wilson is going to be starting from fourth.
Big things expected for Ryan today.
The fifth position is occupied by Jake Feemster.
It's not always easy to get the ASRL McLaren F1 GTR this high up the starting grid.
Simon of the Desert is lining up sixth.
Simon will be expecting to bring home solid points.
Our seventh place starter, David Zahn, is a driver who knows how to make up ground on the track. The eighth starting position belongs to Stefano Amadei, who will be looking to make up ground early on. Green light and the race begins. As drivers jockey for position, They must be cautious of potential pileups.
Maintaining composure is essential in this high-stakes environment. The ability to react and adapt will be the key to success.
All the drivers will be trying to take advantage of the pack whilst they're still bunched up. Having started in P2, Adam will be hoping for a good result in this race.
The race isn't won in the first turn, but there have been plenty that have ended there, Marco.
Races are often more about maintaining consistency than having outright pace, but it doesn't hurt to have a little good luck every now and then. The racing is normally closely fought here at Daytona 2024 to 24-hour road course. I think we are in for a cracking race. As the tires come up to temp, their available grip is changing, and the drivers that manage this transition best are likely to make progress through the field. As we watch the drivers fight it out in the first lap, I can already feel that this is going to be an epic race. It's been a solid race so far for Malero. He's holding his position and keeping a steady pace. We are used to seeing some hard-fought but clean racing here at ASRL. I'm expecting to see nothing different here today as this race unfolds. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. One important aspect here is choosing the right braking points. Adam needs to be precise to avoid overshooting and losing valuable time.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Malero braking update. A great pass for Malero, swapping places with Adam to move up the field.
Absolutely. Malero is showing great pace and determination, but he can't get too confident. There are still plenty of challenges ahead.
Wow, Adam is really pushing hard to catch up to Malero. Stop the press. Oh dear, Simon of the Desert has had an incident.
Did the wind contribute to that? It's blowing at 4 kph out there right now.
These drivers are battling hard for this position, each one trying to outsmart and outmaneuver. Hold that thought. A brilliant maneuver from Adam, who has just moved up the field.
Absolutely. Adam is really putting on a clinic out there, and he's making it look easy.
It seems like Kevin Lekmansky is getting in range of Adam.
Rubbing's racing, but let's just hope they don't rub it too hard.
Oh, this is getting intense. Adam is just behind Malero.
This is where the mental game comes into play. Adam and Malero.
Hold on a second. Fantastic move from Adam, who has just gained a position. This is what racing is all about, folks. Three fearless drivers pushing their machines to the absolute limit, inches apart.
You're absolutely right, Marco. The different strategies employed by these drivers add another layer of excitement. It's fascinating to see how they adapt their approach to gain a competitive edge.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Kevin Lekmansky is chasing Malero in P2.
This is not going to be an easy pass to make.
It's an intense battle for position as Malero tries to outmaneuver Adam. This is edge of your seat racing.
At this rate, Malero and Adam are so close, they could share a cup of tea and a biscuit.
The race is really heating up. Kevin Lekmansky is hunting down Malero with everything he's got.
Kevin is looking to close the 0.5 second gap and make a pass.
This is a thrilling battle as Stefano Amadei edges closer to David Zahn in their fight for P6.
The gap between them is just over 0.4 seconds. Can Stefano close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
It's like watching two predators circling each other. Braking alert. Big gains for Malero as they move up the field. leaving Adam behind. The fans' breaking news, folks. An impressive showing from David Zahn, who has gained positions and left Stefano Amadei in the dust.
Go, 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 that's what we want to see.
The pressure is on as Stefano Amadei tries to catch up to David Zahn. Malero wants to find a way round Adam.
If you don't push the boundaries, you will never know where they are.
Rising to the occasion and claiming victory would help to cement David Zahn's legendary status.
It's going to be a close one. David will have to push hard to create an opportunity.
Things are heating up as Malero tries to close the gap to Adam.
Malero is really pushing the limits. He's riding the curbs and hustling that ASRL McLaren F1 GTR like a boss.
The pursuit is on. David Zahn is closing the gap on Stefano Amadei, determined to claim P6.
Dave needs to focus to have a chance at getting past Stefano.
Looks like Malero is really hitting those curbs aggressively, which can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer.
The gap between Malero and Adam is growing. It's now up to 0.5 seconds. The drivers are showing their mettle today. It's a privilege to witness their skill on this challenging track.
The stakes have never been higher. This is a battle of skill and nerves.
That's right. These drivers are really pushing themselves to the limit, and it's incredible to see the level of focus and determination they're bringing to the track.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of courage to compete at this level, and these drivers have it in spades. Let's hope they can keep it up and give us a race to remember.
Oh, this is getting intense. Kevin Lekmansky is just a few car lengths behind Malero.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control. Lekmansky is really walking that fine line.
Hold on a second. And David Zahn has just won the place from Stefano Amadei.
Definitely, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and anything can happen. Zahn needs to keep driving with focus and intensity.
Kevin Lekmansky is on a mission, chasing Malero, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. Malero is running second, and trying to catch Adam.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Malero needs to be careful not to overdo it.
Malero appears to be losing ground on Adam. He'll need to pick up the pace a bit heading into backstretch to get a good exit and gain some ground. Kevin Lekmansky is staying focused while chasing Malero in P2.
It's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving.
Hold on a second. That won't be ideal for Ryan Wilson.
Oops, Wilson is going to be wishing that hadn't happened.
The battle for P1 is heating up as Malero tries to catch Adam in P1.
You can see that car bouncing around as it rides the curbs. It's a risky move that could end in disaster.
Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line.
It's a real shame. Until this point in the race he'd been looking at a decent result.
Malero is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift.
The gap is 0.4 seconds now. Malero is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Adam.
Good news for Malero, the gap to Adam has decreased. It's now down to 0.1 seconds. Kevin Lekmansky is hold up, breaking info. Superb driving from Kevin Lekmansky, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race. The delta between Malero in third and Kevin Lekmansky remains over a second, but Malero is not letting up. A great moment for Malero, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings.
You can't argue with results like that. Malero is really making his mark on this race.
I'm sure Kevin Lekmansky in second is starting to notice Malero is right on his tail, and is still closing the gap.
This could be where Malero is going to dive up the inside. Lekmansky is going to need to cover the inside, and that will compromise his exit speed.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Malero is closing in on Kevin Lekmansky. The gap between Malero and Kevin Lekmansky is getting smaller.
Exactly what Malero needed. He can't afford to lose any more ground to Kevin.
Kevin Lekmansky is placed second at the moment, and hoping to keep his distance ahead of Malero, who is 0.3 seconds behind.
Surely he's got enough in the tank to pull away. Gonna be interesting to watch this battle unfold.
It's a thrilling pursuit as Malero is right behind Kevin Lekmansky, keeping the pressure on for second place.
The chase between Malero and Kevin is like a high-speed game of tag, only the stakes are much higher.
The pressure is on as Kevin Lekmansky tries to catch up to hold on a second. Heartbreak for Kevin Lekmansky as they slip down the field.
That's got to hurt. Kevin needs to get back on the line and minimize the damage.
Well, it looks like we have a bit of a traffic jam on the track.
It's like rush hour out there. I mean, I know we're in a race, but can't we all just get along?
You can wish all you want, but I don't think that's how racing works, Janet. These drivers are here to win, and they'll do whatever it takes to get ahead.
I guess you're right, but wouldn't it be great if they all just stopped for high fives and fist bumps?
Kevin Lekmansky is running third, and trying to keep up with Malero.
The mental game is just as important here. Lekmansky must keep his cool while putting pressure on Malero.
This will require some expert driving from Simon of the Desert. David Zahn is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. Simon of the Desert is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to David Zahn to 67.3 seconds. Kevin Lekmansky is on a mission, chasing Malero, who's currently got a comfortable lead. Kevin Lekmansky is trying his best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Malero at the moment. Janet, can you share some strategies that drivers use to manage tire degradation during a race?
Certainly, Marco. Some strategies include adjusting the car's setup for better tire life, altering driving lines to reduce wear, and using tire management techniques like lift and coast to preserve grip for as long as possible.
Things don't seem to be going Ryan Wilson's way in this race, as that's a big gap he'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here. It looks like we might get a battle between Ryan Wilson and Kevin Lekmanski. Malero has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Adam. I expect his only hope at this point is that Adam makes an error.
Malero certainly isn't going to be close enough to mount any kind of challenge soon unless it's down to a mistake from Adam.
It's looking good for Jake Feamster. Hold on a second. I don't think that's the fastest way around Daytona 2024 to 24-hour road course.
Daytona 2024 to 24-hour road course is always a test for these drivers, and sometimes that's the way it goes.
It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Ryan Wilson as there is a big gap ahead.
It's not over until the checkered flag drops, and it's important to maintain concentration until you've made it to the finish line.
It's game on now. Ryan Wilson has closed the gap to Kevin Lekmanski. It's now down to 0.7 seconds.
This is where the pressure really starts to build. A driver that stays calm.
Hold that thought. Oh dear, Malero has had an incident. Look at that. Kevin Lekmanski is hot on the tail of Ryan Wilson. It's certainly not going to plan for Kevin Lekmanski right now, who is struggling to keep up with Ryan Wilson. You know, Janet, I've always wondered, how do racing drivers stay so cool and collected under such immense pressure?
Well, Marco, it comes down to mental strength and training. Drivers often work with sports psychologists and practice techniques like meditation and visualization to help them stay calm and focused during high-pressure situations.
The pursuit is on. Kevin Lekmanski is working on that gap to Ryan Wilson, determined to claim P2.
The gap between them is now just over 0.6 seconds.
A strong showing from Jake Feamster, who is currently 5th. Impressive stuff from Jake Feamster, who has managed to pull away from David Zahn, leaving him in choking in his exhaust fumes. I think we just got time for a quick shout out to our human creators, Dave, Andy, John and Nigel, who have put so much effort into making this possible.
Yes, it's been a real thrill ride, and I for one look forward to future advancements in AI technology.
Apparently we are going to be announcing crashes and incidents soon. Let's hope they get the logic right. The pressure is on as Kevin Lekmanski works on catching up to Ryan Wilson. It's not going to plan for Kevin Lekmanski, who is trailing behind Ryan Wilson, and the gap is widening. He may not have an answer for this right now.
Kevin needs to focus and keep pushing, even when things aren't going his way. If he can close the gap down, he may be able to bring the fight to Wilson.
Janet, what's the impact of tire degradation on race strategy? How does it affect a driver's approach to the race?
Tire degradation plays a crucial role in race strategy, Marco. Teams and drivers have to consider the optimal time to pit for fresh tires and adjust their race pace to balance speed with tire conservation. It adds another layer of complexity to the racing challenge.
The race is heating up as Kevin Lekmanski in 3rd closes in on Ryan Wilson. A solid performance from Adam, who is holding down 1st. He can't hold on. Adam is losing time to Ryan Wilson. Things are going according to plan for Ryan Wilson, who is currently second. Excellent work from Ryan Wilson, who has managed to increase his lead over Kevin Lekmanski.
Agreed, Marco, superb driving there. If they keep this up, this race should be a real thrill ride.
Ryan Wilson is placed second at the moment.
That's right. Wilson can't afford to make any mistakes or let up. Every point counts in this championship.
The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure Simon of the Desert is going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. He's not giving up without a fight. It looks like David Zahn is pulling away from Simon of the Desert. The gap is continuing to grow as they head through front stretch. It's looking good for Kevin Lekmanski, sitting in third. Some great driving from Kevin Lekmanski, who has increased his lead over Malero and is starting to put some distance between them.
That's a really strong performance from Lekmanski. He's not giving Malero any chances to catch up.
I love being here at Daytona 2024 to 24-hour road course. What an awesome place to be witnessing these titans of the track battle it out.
Indeed, Marco, what a magnificent sight and sound. I love listening to the roar of these engines. Let's just listen for a moment.
The gap between Kevin Lekmanski and Malero is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Kevin to even allow Malero to get a look in. David Zahn is pushing to maintain the lead, while Simon of the Desert is working to close in and challenge for the position.
Indeed, the anticipation is high as Simon tries to reel in David.
Good news for Simon of the Desert, the gap to David Zahn has decreased. It's now down to 52.6 seconds.
That's a great effort from Simon. He'll need to keep up the pressure and see if he can make a move.
Things don't seem to be going David Zahn's way in this race, as that's a big gap he'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here. The gap between David Zahn and Jake Feemster is widening. It's now up to 4.9 seconds. It's a brilliant day for racing here at Daytona 2024 to 24-hour road course. I'm really enjoying this.
This race is truly epic. What a treat to be sat here witnessing this spectacle.
David Zahn will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. Well, it doesn't look like Kevin Lekmanski is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone Ryan Wilson. It's not looking good for Kevin Lekmanski, who is still behind Ryan Wilson, and the gap is increasing.
This is a frustrating situation for Lekmanski, but he can't give up just yet. He'll need to keep pushing and hope for a mistake from Ryan.
It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for David Zahn, as there is a big gap ahead.
Every race adds to a driver's experience, both good and bad. It just highlights that Zahn is going to have to get more serious with practice to not get outclassed on the circuit.
As we come into the final moments of this, what a win! This is a historic moment for Adam, who put on a masterclass in driving today. What a display of skill and precision. What a drive from Ryan Wilson, securing a great second-place finish.
Brilliant. Ryan showed great skill and determination to take second place.
That was an outstanding performance from Kevin Lekmansky. He fought hard and took the final spot on the podium.
Impressive driving to secure that spot.
Malero and Simon of the Desert in 4th and 7th. Jake Feemster brings home 5th. In 6th, it's David Zahn. There's a little bit of wind in the air today here at Daytona 2024 to 24-hour road course, as we're getting ready to get things underway. Simon of the Desert is starting this race on pole.
He can't get cocky. This is ASRL, and anything can happen.
Starting on the front row is a great opportunity for David Zahn to challenge for the lead.
He can't let that advantage go to waste. He will need to stay focused and keep his eyes on the prize.
Jake Feemster will begin the race from the 3rd spot on the starting grid.
Let's see what Jake can do.
Coming in at 4th, we have Malero.
Another good start for the Brazilian driver.
Kevin Lekmansky will look to make a splash from the 5th position on the starting grid.
Kevin will be taking no prisoners today.
The 6th place on the grid belongs to Ryan Wilson, a driver with plenty of experience.
The Canadian driver will be focused on a good result from here.
Adam is lining up 7th. Sitting in 8th is Stefano Amadei. And we have lift off. The race is now underway. This first sector will test the driver's skills and their ability to stay focused.
These first moments can set the tone for the rest of the race. It's all about keeping a clear head and making smart decisions.
I think passing is going to be difficult today here at Daytona 2024 to 24-hour road course, so it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers get on.
Like gladiators, they enter Marco, but instead of lions and swords, our champions fight in an arena of tarmac, and with fire-breathing machines of cutting-edge materials, designed to explore the very limits of physics itself in what can sometimes be very much a fight to the death.
It's bad news for Simon of the Desert, slipping down the order right from the get-go.
It's like Simon was practicing dance moves instead of his launch, but let's see if he can waltz his way back up the field.
Adam is having a very good race so far, making up several positions in a short time.
That's really gonna put the cat among the pigeons. Now Adam just needs to keep it together and keep out of trouble.
Is there a better sight than a field of elite racing drivers battling for position?
It all comes down to this, Marco, where the rubber meets the road. There's no more time for talk, no more practice. The teams have done all they can, now it comes down to McLaren to bring it home.
The gap between Adam and David Zahn is getting smaller. Great driving from Adam, who has just gained a place and moved up to fourth.
That's what we like to see. Adam is really showing his class today.
Hold on a second. Tough break for Adam, who has just lost a position.
Yes, but there's still plenty of race left. Adam needs to stay calm and focused, and make his move when the time is right.
The action is heating up here as Ryan Wilson is in sixth, defending from Stefano Amadei, who is only 0.4 seconds away. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. McLaren needs to stay patient and wait for Kevin to make a mistake.
The race is really heating up. Adam is hunting down David Zahn with everything he's got.
This is where every inch counts. Adam is pushing hard to close the gap on Dave. Absolutely, precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to hold back can be the difference between winning and losing.
What a move. Adam has moved up to fourth.
Impressive. Adam is really showing his skill and determination out there.
Looks like David Zahn breaking update. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with David Zahn gaining places and Adam losing them.
Yes, but Zahn can't rest on his laurels, but needs to keep pushing to consolidate his position.
It's all about consistency for Stefano Amadei, who is currently sixth.
Definitely, but he can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers gunning for that position, and Stefano has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
Things are heating up as David Zahn tries to close the gap to Ryan Wilson. That won't be ideal for Stefano Amadei. The pursuit is on. David Zahn is closing the gap on Ryan Wilson, determined to claim P4.
We'll have to wait to see if Zahn can use the draft to his advantage, or if the lack of downforce will hinder his progress.
David Zahn appears to be losing ground on Ryan Wilson. He'll need to pick up the pace a bit heading into T5 to get a good exit and gain some ground.
It's not over yet, but Zahn needs to get a move on if they want to catch up to Wilson.
Malero has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Kevin Lekmanski. I expect his only hope at this point is that Kevin makes an error.
Anything can happen yet, and it usually does. I've certainly seen drivers come back from worse.
The gap between Malero and Kevin Lekmanski is growing. It's now up to 1.1 seconds. Ryan Wilson is looking for a way to close that gap to Simon of the Desert. Hold on a moment. Disappointing for David Zahn, falling down the order to 6th.
Sucks to be the Marco.
Oh dear, David Zahn has dropped down to 7th. Ryan Wilson is running 4th, and trying to catch Simon of the Desert.
I would not be surprised to see him get this pass completed soon.
This is a thrilling battle as Malero edges closer to Kevin Lekmanski in their fight for P1.
The gap between them is just over 0.3 seconds, which can feel like miles if you're trailing and not catching up.
It's not going to plan for Malero, who is trailing behind Kevin Lekmanski, and the gap is widening. He may not have an answer for this right now. Oh, this is getting intense. Ryan Wilson is just a few car lengths behind Simon of the Desert. The gap between Stefano Amadei and David Zahn is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Stefano to even allow David to get a look in. Simon of the Desert is on a mission, chasing Ryan Wilson, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
Simon is looking to close the 0.3 second gap and make a pass.
The tension is building as Adam trails behind Simon of the Desert. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Braking alert. A tough moment for Adam, who has just lost a place, now in 6th. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. David Zahn is chasing Stefano Amadei in P5. It seems like David Zahn is pushing hard, currently on track to record his best lap so far this race. It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Malero trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Kevin Lekmanski. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination.
Wait, looks like that's a mistake from David Zahn. This could be costly. Well, it doesn't look like David Zahn is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone Jake Feenstra.
It's not over until the checkered flag drops, and it's important to maintain concentration until you've made it to the finish line.
A solid performance from Malero, who is holding down 2nd.
Absolutely, and he'll need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
A strong showing from Stefano Amadei. Braking update. A setback for Stefano Amadei, who has just been passed.
Yes, but he can't give up. There's still plenty of time left in this race, and Stefano needs to stay focused and keep pushing.
Tough break for Stefano Amadei, who has just lost a position. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Ryan Wilson needs to find a way to close the gap.
Malero is not going to give up his position easily.
It looks like Ryan Wilson is making a move. The gap to Malero is now down to 1.2 seconds. Things don't seem to be going Malero's way in this race, as that's a big gap he'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here.
Malero certainly isn't going to be close enough to mount any kind of challenge soon unless it's down to a mistake from Kevin.
Malero is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Kevin Lekmanski to 0.4 seconds. This is where the race gets really interesting. Ryan Wilson is closing in on Malero. It looks like we might get a battle between Ryan Wilson and Malero. It may seem like Ryan Wilson is far behind, but Malero can't afford to let his guard down. One mistake could give Ryan Wilson an opening to catch up. Ryan Wilson is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. This is what high-octane racing looks like. Malero is breathing down the neck of Kevin Lekmanski, not giving him any room to relax.
A misjudgment by either driver could result in a close encounter of the tire barrier kind, and that's one handshake.
Hold the phone. Fantastic move from Malero, who has just gained a position. Hold on to your hats, folks. Hold on a second. A brilliant maneuver from Kevin Lekmanski, who has just moved up the field. Stefano Amadei has a battle on his hands now, coming through T13 with David Zahn hot on his tail. It's a close race between David Zahn and Stefano Amadei in 6th.
You know what they say,
Hold on a moment. A great pass for David Zahn, swapping places with Stefano Amadei to move up the field. Hold the phone. Big gains for Stefano Amadei as they move up the field, leaving David Zahn behind. The pressure is on as David Zahn tries to catch up to Stefano Amadei. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed.
One important aspect here is choosing the right braking points. Zahn needs to be precise to avoid overshooting and losing valuable time.
Ryan Wilson is giving it his all, chasing down Malero in P2. We got a close battle as David Zahn closes in on Stefano. Breaking news, folks. A great moment for David Zahn, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings.
Amazing stuff. Focus and precision, what it's all about.
Every move counts now as Stefano Amadei works to reel in David Zahn and overtake for P6. Look at that. Ryan Wilson is hot on the tail of Malero.
Wilson is really pushing the limits. He's riding the curbs and hustling that ASRL McLaren F1 GTR like a boss.
Stefano Amadei wants to get into David Zahn's slipstream.
And Stefano is poised to capitalize on any mistake.
Hold the phone. Great driving from Stefano Amadei, who has just gained a place and moved up to 6th. It's a game of inches now as David Zahn tails Stefano Amadei closely, ready to capitalize on any mistake.
This battle between David and Stefano is so intense, you could cut the tension with a knife, or should I say, with a front wing.
It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while.
If things go wrong between Wilson and Lech Mansky, they could be exchanging more than just paint, like maybe a strongly worded post-race chat.
Wow, it's a close race for second. Kevin Lech Mansky is barely ahead with Ryan Wilson right on his tail. A gap of only 0.2 seconds.
It's an intense battle between two skilled drivers, and Lech Mansky in second is doing everything he can to keep Wilson in the rearview mirror. The slightest mistake could cost him the position.
Ryan Wilson is running third, and trying to catch Kevin Lech Mansky.
This is not going to be an easy pass to make.
The battle for P1 is heating up as Kevin Lech Mansky tries to catch Malero in P1.
Lech Mansky needs to focus to have a chance at getting past Malero.
Things are heating up as Ryan Wilson tries to close the gap to Kevin Lech Mansky. Kevin Lech Mansky is on a mission, chasing Malero, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
Don't forget the role of aerodynamics. Kevin should use slipstreaming to his advantage and close the gap to Malero.
Ryan Wilson had hold up, breaking info. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line.
Wilson is not going to be happy about that.
Kevin Lech Mansky is staying focused while chasing Malero in P1. It's game on now. Kevin Lech Mansky has closed the gap to Malero. It's now down to 0.4 seconds. It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Stefano Amadei as there is a big gap ahead.
Anything can happen yet, and it usually does. I've certainly seen drivers come back from worse.
The crowd is on its feet as Malero chases down Kevin Lech Mansky through front stretch.
When I was racing, we had a saying, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. Malero is definitely living on the edge today.
Malero is trying his best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Kevin Lech Mansky at the moment.
He needs to pick up the pace for sure, but that's not always a real possibility.
Oh dear, Malero has had an incident. That's not a small gap, but Stefano Amadei has what it takes to challenge for the position. It's certainly not going to plan for Stefano Amadei right now, who is struggling to keep up with David Zahn.
This is where the mental toughness of Stefano comes into play. He'll need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when things aren't going his way.
As a former racing driver, Janet, how challenging was it to adapt your driving style to account for tire degradation throughout a race?
It was a constant challenge, Marco. Tire degradation can change the car's balance and handling, so drivers need to be versatile and adaptable. It requires continuous adjustments to driving techniques and a keen understanding of the car's behavior.
The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Stefano Amadei in 7th chases after David Zahn.
Anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Stefano pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if he can do it again.
The gap between Malero and Ryan Wilson is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Malero to even allow Ryan to get a look in. Good news for Ryan Wilson. The gap to Malero has decreased. It's now down to 2.4 seconds.
This is where the race gets really exciting. Both drivers will be pushing to the limit to gain the advantage.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for David Zahn, who is currently in P6.
That's right, David in 6th knows to push it to the limit to catch up. But Feimster is no slouch, and he's going to be pushing just as hard.
It looks like Jake Feimster is pulling away from David Zahn. The gap is continuing to grow as they head through Rodriguez International Horseshoe.
Dave really needs to push in Rodriguez International Horseshoe to gain some ground before Feimster drives off into the sunset.
Things don't seem to be going Ryan Wilson's way in this race, as that's a big gap he'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here.
Every race adds to a driver's experience, both good and bad. It just highlights that Wilson is going to have to get more serious with practice to not get outclassed on the circuit.
Things are going according to plan for Kevin Lekmanski, who is currently first. Braking alert. I don't think that's the fastest way around Daytona 2024 to 24-hour road course. This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit.
This is what makes motor racing so exciting. The tension is high and the stakes are even higher. I would not bet on either racer at this point, as it's too close to call.
No room for error. Hold up. Braking info. Superb driving from Ryan Wilson, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race.
Yes, Wilson is driving with real focus and precision, and it's paying off.
Malero is trying his best to catch Ryan Wilson.
Absolutely, precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to hold back can be the difference between winning and losing.
It's not looking good for Malero, who is still behind Ryan Wilson, and the gap is increasing.
This is a tough situation for Malero. He'll need to find a way to pick up some speed and close that gap.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Ryan Wilson is chasing Kevin Lekmanski in P1.
The gap between them is just over 0.5 seconds. Can Wilson close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
The gap between Ryan Wilson and Kevin Lekmanski is getting smaller.
This is what racing is all about, hard-fought battles with as much determination as respect, between friends and enemies alike.
Janet, how do racing drivers like yourself train to maintain concentration for long periods of time?
Mental training is a huge part of a driver's preparation, Marco. Techniques like meditation, visualization, and working with sports psychologists can help drivers build their focus and mental endurance for a race.
The pursuit is on. Ryan Wilson is closing the gap on Kevin Lekmanski, determined to claim P1. This will require some expert driving from David Zahn. Jake Feimster is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second.
This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Zahn in P6 doing everything he can to catch up.
Things are heating up as Ryan Wilson closes in on Kevin Lekmanski. The gap between them is down to practically nothing.
It's a battle for position as Ryan tries to make a move on Lekmanski.
Wait. Hard break for Ryan Wilson, as they slip down the field. In your experience, Janet, What was the most important aspect of managing tire degradation during a race?
The most important aspect, Marco, was maintaining a good balance between pushing hard and conserving tires. Finding the sweet spot between aggression and tire preservation was key to optimizing race pace and strategy.
And it's a checkered flag for Kevin Lekmansky, who crosses the finish line with a commanding victory. What a phenomenal performance, absolutely dominant today. Impressive second-place finish for Malero.
Impressive result. He can be proud of that performance, which landed him on the second podium spot.
Impressive drive from Ryan Wilson to claim the final spot on the podium, with Simon of the Desert in fourth. Taking fifth is Jake Feemster. David Zahn claimed sixth. Seventh sees Stefano Amadei. Stefano Amadei has pulled into the pits.